This presentation seeks to provide some fundamental information about key Anglo Saxon manuscripts, including how they are categorized and what they contain. It also provides some information about the key manuscripts that include the works in your textbook that we will read in class. As always, please feel free to pause and research further either by Googling or looking in your textbook for additional information. Let's begin with some basic fundamentals. The manuscripts were made with hand-bound vellum or sheepskin. Each page is called a folio, with the left lying image identified as the verso and the right called recto. When illustrations are included, as in this case, they were often designed by a separate artist who worked in conjunction with the scribe producing the written text. Some manuscripts were pre-made and then left intentionally blank, and later served basically as notebooks, where lists and other key information could be recorded. These are called miscellanies. Each manuscript is named by its origin and some identifying volume number, with the pages identified according to their number and their positioning. In the example here, the manuscript is first identified according to its history, having once belonged to the 17th century collector Elias Ashmole, who bequeathed it to the Ashmolean Museum, which he founded to house his collection of curiosities and antiquaries, in 1683. The text is an herbal healing guide, which was originally composed in the 11th century, and combines its explanations of each plant's healing qualities with descriptive illustrations. The manuscript currently resides in the Bodleian Library at Oxford University and is named Ashmole 1431. The image you see here is of folios 14 verso and 15 recto. One early collector of Anglo-Saxon manuscripts was Sir Robert Bruce Cotton, who acquired several manuscripts newly available after King Henry VIII, he of the Five Wives, dissolved all Catholic monasteries across England between 1536 and 1541 in response to the Church's refusal to grant him the power to divorce. Cotton had his own filing system, a series of bookshelves in a circle, each topped with the bust of a Roman emperor. Each book within this collection was further identified by its placement in a specific position on a particular shelf. Cotton's library became the basis for the British Library, which was founded in 1702. The collection, housed in its early days at the Ashburnham House, was severely damaged in a fire in 1731, with several notable manuscripts damaged and some still showing that damage to this day. The British Library has obviously been rebuilt and added on over the centuries, but the surviving Cotton manuscripts are currently held at its main facility in London. The image pictured here comes from Cotton Vitellius C3, which indicates that Cotton held it on the third level of his Vitellius shelf in the third position. Some other notable manuscripts, including one of Bede's Ecclesiastical History and the Beowulf manuscript, are also identified here. One key manuscript is called the Exeter Book, and it contains the well-known poems listed here. We'll be reading some of these, including the well-known poems Wanderer and Seafarer. The book was donated by Lofrich, the Bishop of Exeter, to his cathedral library in 1072 CE, and is now known as Exeter Manuscript 3501. Other key manuscripts include the Vercelli book, the Junius manuscript, and the Noel Codex. By the way, codex is just another name for a hand-bound leather book. The Vercelli book, a gift to an Italian monastery of the same name, dates to the 10th century and contains The Dream of the Rood and a few other devotional homilies and poems. The Junius manuscript, also referred to as the Cadman manuscript, features 10th century biblical poetry and illustrations originally attributed to the composer Cadman, mentioned by Bede. The 17th century Dutch-English scholar Franciscus Junius edited the manuscript, which now sits in the Bodleian Library in Oxford. Finally, the Noel Codex, Cotton Vitellius A15, is named for one of its original owners, the scholar Lawrence Noel, who lived in the 16th century. This manuscript, containing the surviving version of the poem Beowulf, was among those heavily damaged by that Ashburnham house fire in 1731. I hope this brief introduction helps provide some clarity about the naming system given to these manuscripts, and also helps to provide some additional interest about some of the most iconic works of English literature. Thanks for listening.